Obviously, Sig has kind of crapped the bed with the P320 recently. Well, this gun is a 2011 style race gun that takes P320 magazines. I don't think it's too crazy to think that whole marketing stunt was just to solely promote this gun. Hey guys, right before we get into the review, go ahead and check out businesscasualarmory.com if you need a CPA. I am a licensed CPA down here in Texas. I work a lot with content creators and influencers, as well as really anyone in the service-based industry. So if you need help with any tax and accounting needs, go check out businesscasualarmory.com. All right, back to the review. So this video is going to be an unboxing and an overview and going over the specs and kind of showing up close all of the goodies that are on the P211 GTO. I'm going to do another disassembly video separately and then another range video on it and the performance of the compensator and all that good stuff later. So, definitely give this video a like and subscribe to the channel and you'll see all those future videos coming out. So obviously this is a very high-end Sig Sauer pistol. This might be the most expensive Sig Sauer pistol, and it's a little disappointing because this is the box that it comes in, and obviously you're paying money for the gun, not the box, but still, it's nice to have things dressed up. So I'm gonna compare that to this, which is the P226 X5 Reserve. They have another, I think a P320 X5 Reserve, but the case that you get for this is, I think the kids would say hella nice. This is a much more buttoned down, fancy, and listen to this. You got the little latches on there. And then the presentation of this pistol is just like pretty crazy. You get a little silly challenge coin for the weird people out there, and then get some free cat hair in there. You get your magazines all nicely laid out. So, and it's foam cut out, whatever. It's got, some, like, I'm rich, whatever material this is. So it's just a nicer case, and it's like, I think kind of at the price point that you're paying for the P211 GTO, I honestly expected something similar to this, but instead you just get the regular case that everyone else, that all the other, basic SIGs come in, which is fine, but it's just kind of just FYI, if you're ready to spend $3,000, you're not, all of that's going to the gun, not to the case. So here's the gun as it came. I got just the basic model of it without the red dot. It comes with a 23 round magazine, which is, the 21 rounder with a little mag extension on there. And then it comes with 2 mags and then this little thing that says, remove before flight. Sure, that's cute. And then it has an extra recoil spring. Cool, okay. So that's enough for the box. Starting at the front of it, we've got our lovely compensator. This is the new 3D printed compensator that has had, I don't know, I don't want to say it's overhyped, but we'll see when I go take it to the range. But it is supposed to be pretty impressive. It's a 3D printed, kind of crazy design compensator. It's got these like vents on the side of it, and then, this kind of triangular top port. So we'll see if the intricate design really holds up. It's not threaded. It is held in place by a set screw. This is pretty similar to the Radiant Ramjet, how that affixes. It should be pretty easy to disassemble and take off. Another perk to this is obviously this gun right now is not legal to use in USPSA limited optics. So at some point, Sig, it is not available yet, but they are planning to release a sight block, which is just a basically non-cut compensator that you can remove this compensator and throw a sight block on, and then you can use this in USPSA limited optics. And I know there's other competitions out there that will let you run it with a comp, but I think USPSA is the most prevalent one. Also, the finish of this is very similar to, I think, just a kind of stock Glock, and also the other P226s that I've got. It's pretty similar in finish to that, so it's a not overly smooth grip. And for reference, this is the P226 X5 Reserve I was just showing. This gun is silly because the finish on it is so slick. I mean, you can see, I think, you can literally see the camera and the reflection there, right? Like it's very slick and almost like you kind of like almost like fall off of it when, you can slip on it a little better than with this. So, but this gun is also, more for show, and it's just like, hey, like, look how shiny this thing is. But anyways, there's that. And then for the sights on here, it's got a blacked out, fully blacked out rear with kind of those little, you know, lovely serrations to help it pick up a little better. And then a fiber optic front, which is, I think, a pretty good set for competition iron. And then it has a Sig lock footprint. Sig lock is Sig's new version of the Delta Point Pro. It just has a few more locking mechanisms inside there to keep it settled. But point is, this will take Delta Point Pro optics, but it also will take the new Sig lock footprint optic. Okay, so obviously right in the middle here of the upper is the barrel, and this barrel is a 4.4 inch bull barrel. I mean, look at this thing. Look at how thick that barrel is. Look how thick that boy is. We can also measure it. This barrel is almost 18 millimeters in 17.6 millimeters, but then it kind of necks down a little bit to 16. The one part of this that is not 2011-esque is the external extractor. You know, most 2011s have, or double stack 1911s have a internally extracted extractor. This one is an external, which I think is gonna really aid in the reliability, and you don't have to worry about slamming in full magazines with the slide closed and all that good stuff. So this is gonna be a lot nicer out of the box from a reliability standpoint. This is a Series 80 double stack 1911. Series 80 meaning that it does have a firing pin block, so the trigger is going to be slightly less nice than the Series 70 double stack 1911s that do not have to overcome having a firing pin block. But it does have the added safety of, you know, having the firing pin block, which obviously if you are Sig Sauer, you really need to double down on safety. There's actually some really funny references to this gun might fire if there is a round in the chamber. It's like, thank you for being weird about that, Sig. Yeah, we know. So let's go ahead and look at the trigger here. So, you know, we're clear. So we've got a little bit of take up, and then we kind of start pushing into it, and then we have a wall. It's a pretty firm wall. I'm stacking more pressure and brakes. And then the reset right there. So pretty short reset. I think this trigger is pretty nice out of the box. Yeah, so you'll see it has a little bit of wall right till that like metal almost meets the edge of that other metal. Brakes, and then again with the reset. So moving on to the controls here on the lower, we have the, you know, ambi safety. I don't know why Sig would make a gun for lefties, but also, you know, for us righties that are bothered by having ambi controls. I think this will serve nicely if you ever have those stages at USPSA that are, you know, one-handed only, offhand only, whatever. You'll have some extra controls to help you manipulate the gun. And they're done pretty nice. The controls on the left side of the gun for righties are pretty prominent, and then they're just slightly, ever so slightly smaller on the right side of the gun. So they're not off balance is what I'm getting at. Okay, also, so the grip ergonomics on this. I think that the grip on this is really good. I think this feels very, very similar to the P320 X5 Legion. That's my other main gun that I shoot a lot. And, you know, I'm joking about, you know, having the, oh, this is the marketing statement for Sig to use P320 mags. But I mean, for me, at least that was the case, because I probably have, I don't know, 10 plus P320 magazines at this point. So the fact that this gun takes P320 mags and mimics the size of the P320 grip is really a good plus for me. The grip on the P320 absolutely locks into my hands. So this having a similar style of grip shape is a huge plus. The panels on this are removable. You'll be able to customize these. These are the G10 grips. I think that out the box, they're really good. It's got this kind of like whatever scaly lower portion, and then kind of where the meat of your palm rests on your support hand, it has this nice checkering. So it definitely feels good and locks into place. And yeah, I think that that'll do wonders for, you know, helping mitigate recoil. And then the Magwell on this, it's nice and big, stainless, you know, definitely locks in place pretty well. And it's not overly large. I think it has a good little ledge for your pinky thumb to like kind of have a little bit more material to support with. And then lastly, the magazine release on this. The magazine release on this is also pretty good. I think sometimes companies will overdo the extended magazine release, and I think this is a pretty good Goldilocks zone of size for that. So that's good. And it definitely clicks nicely and ejects nicely. you know, it definitely, like, I'm holding the gun flat and it still shoots it out. So that's kind of what you want to see. And then lastly, the grip safety on this. So grip safety is good. I'm going to put some pressure on the trigger and then show you all how easy it is to actuate the grip safety. So yeah, it doesn't have to actuate. It doesn't have to be fully depressed to actuate. The only thing that I think is a little weird on this is when you are slowly racking it, you have this disconnect spot on the upper receiver here, where that's for the slide takedown. And sometimes it hangs up as you're just like trying to rack the slide. It'll be a little like finicky and like you can get locked there. And it's just kind of like a weird like feeling. But normally on 2011s, they're cut a little higher. I've got my Watchtower Apache here and you don't ever really have that problem happening there. But this is also a different design because this is ambi control. So in order to take this down, you got to have a punch and knock that pin out. So I think that's kind of why they did it. So like it's, you know, I think it's just a weird design choice, but it still works. And then it also has a full length dust cover so you can throw in your lovely X300s and all that good stuff on here. So how does this stack up against other 2011s in the 2011 market? I think that this is a pretty good value. The Springfield Prodigy is like, if that's $1,500, this should be like $10,000. So yeah, so these are, this seems to be pretty good value. I think that the Staccato XC is kind of this gun's target competitor, right? And so I think at this price point for 2,400 bucks, this is a pretty good value compared to seeing that the Staccato XC is almost $2,000 more, not quite double the price. The next video I'll post on this will probably be a field strip video and then a range video and kind of go over its range performance. And I just got a new high-speed camera that shoots at 960 frames per second natively. So I'm gonna get some really cool high-speed footage of how the compensator works and muzzle rise and all that good stuff. So be sure you're subscribed and you know, stick around for those future videos. Thanks, y'all.